So, just made a video about the Busch Clash. If you haven't seen it, it's on my fucking channel. You know where to look. Anyway, there was something that happened in the Busch Clash that I think needs more attending to. And that's the fact that Brad Keselowski, I don't think he's happy with Penske Racing anymore. Just like I don't think Ryan Blaney is happy with Penske Racing. I know there's a lot of talk. Jimmy Johnson is leaving this year, so this video is kind of going to be a prediction video of what I think Penske is, what's going to happen to these three Penske drivers at the end of the year, or at least at the end of their contracts. I'm not sure. I don't have the contracts on top of my head, so I don't know the details of their deals with Penske. All I know is that there is some animosity on this fucking team, and you can't really have a NASCAR team that they don't really like each other, because you kind of rely on each other, especially in the super speedways, because that's who's going to push each other to the win. Like, if you don't have that like camaraderie within your team, you're going to have people who are just going to be absolute assholes to each other and may be able to restrict each other's win total, which at the end of the day is going to restrict the winnings of the owner. So I think Roger Penske needs to look over his team and have a really deep thought into what the fuck he's going to do at the end of this season. If I was Roger Penske, I would take a serious look at Joey Logano and think about getting rid of him. I know Ryan Blaney and Brad Keselowski have a pretty decent relationship. I know there's a little bit of animosity last year because they switched crew chief members in the middle of the playoffs, and Ryan Blaney was very unhappy about that. But they switched crew chief members again. They switched up the teams a little bit. So I don't see that happening again. I think Ryan Blaney is probably going to be pacified for this season. I don't think he's going to make that mistake again. I definitely would not switch crew chiefs in the middle of the fucking playoffs, but that's just me. But I think if I was Penske, I would have to seriously think about getting rid of Joey Logano and having another team just buy him up and get him out of Penske. I know Joey's he's a very good driver and he gets a lot of hard-fought wins, but he can't have that like mindset of I'm gonna win this race and fuck everyone else and fuck all my teammates. You can't have that mindset, especially on a team like Penske, where they need to rely on each other's like teamwork to win a race, because you've got teams like Joe Gibbs and Hendrick who are fantastic working together, and they're going to blow you out of the water. So I think Penske really needs to look at his team and needs to reevaluate what the hell's going on. If Penske keeps Logano, I do not see Brad Keselowski staying there. I can see Ryan Blaney staying there, because if Blaney doesn't get the 48 car, which is a possibility, but there's also other drivers who can fill that spot. I think if Blaney doesn't get the 48 car, he will stay with Penske, because it is the biggest team he's been on, and he's seen success with Penske. Brad Keselowski, he's won a championship. He knows what it takes. So I don't think he's going to be so reliant on a team that has some of the best equipment. I think it would be cool to see Brad Keselowski maybe go to the 48 car when Jimmy Johnson retires after the end of the year. But I was also thinking maybe he could go to RCR, Richard Childress Racing, if Richard Childress Racing could get back to the form that they were at, you know, when they had Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and they were just running the show. I think, and they had also had Mike Skinner. I think that if RCR could really establish themselves again, or maybe pitch a massive case to Brad that they're going to improve their cars and improve their teams, I could see Brad going to RCR. Because I know Brad Keselowski was a Dale Earnhardt fan, and I think it would mean a lot to him to go race at Richard Childress Racing. But I think that the bigger possibility is Keselowski going to the 48 car and taking Jimmy Johnson's spot after his contract is up with Penske. Now, I don't really like any of the Penske drivers. I guess if I had to pick my favorite out of the three, I guess it would be Brad Keselowski. But that's like, I don't even really like the dude. I don't really like the way he races. I definitely don't like Joey Logano, because he's a very selfish driver. And there was one race last year at Dover where, like, Joey's not even in the race. I think he was running like mid-20s, and Denny Hamlin, who was trying to win the thing, was just getting blocked by Logano for literally no reason. Like, Logano's like 3 laps down. Like, there ain't no way he's gonna come back and win this race, but he's throwing some stupid blocks, and it really upset Denny Hamlin. And I kind of became a Denny Hamlin fan when he started calling Joey out on his bullshit, which I thought was hilarious. That Danny did that. But I think Brad Keselowski is probably going to move to Hendrick, because that is a big team that would need someone big to fill those shoes of Jimmy Johnson. Now, another possibility is Brad Keselowski going to Stewart-Haas Racing. I think that's probably a better possibility, because Brad Keselowski drives a Ford right now, and Ford's really going to want to keep Brad. Like, Brad is one of Ford's biggest drivers. Besides, like, Kevin Harvick and Logano, Brad is, like, the big guy. He's the big 3 Ford drivers right now, of the Ford drivers. And I think that going to Stewart-Haas is a bigger possibility. Probably replacing Eric Almirola. Now, I know Eric Almirola has improved over the last few years, but I just don't see Eric Almirola staying with the team, because of the fact that he hasn't really done anything. I think he's won like 1 race at Stewart-Haas. Clint Bowyer's also on the team, and I'm not a fan of Clint Bowyer because I think he's completely overrated. But at least Clint Bowyer, at least competes for top 10s. Like, Bowyer's up there almost every single race. You know, he races hard, but Bowyer can't really get any wins either. So I could see Eric Almirola getting ditched from the 10, and Brad Keselowski coming in and taking the 10 car from Eric Almirola. I think that's something that could definitely happen, and it's something that if I was part of the Stewart-Haas racing team, I would want to be pushing that, and I would try to be recruiting Brad right now, because you know he's a champion. Because the only racer Stewart-Haas has is Kevin Harvick. No, that's not a dig at Kevin Harvick, but like, he was the only non-Joe Gibbs driver in the championship for last year, and he has a really good shot of winning it this year, because Kevin Harvick is a god at Phoenix Motor Speedway, which is where the final race is going to be held. So I'm really big pulling for my boy Kevin, getting this W, getting another championship under his belt. But I think Stewart-Haas they need to push for Brad to be on their team, and I would definitely enjoy seeing Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick on the same team. And I'm also a pretty big fan of Cole Custer. I think Cole Custer is going to win Rookie of the Year, but it's going to be very close between him and Christopher Bell. But that's another topic for another day. Anyway, I'm going to go because this video is way too fucking long. Let me know where you think Brad Keselowski is going to go. And, yeah, who's going to win the championship? I guess. I don't know. Peace.